You weirdo, going around touching people.
I love touching people.
Yeah, me too.
Hello everyone, if this is the first time you tune in, welcome. I am Jess. I am a creative director by day and a third culture daydreaming snob by night.
And I'm Taya. I like to talk about culture with you and her. And today, we're gonna talk about dating!
My other stories that I want to tell. When my sister met her husband, so her husband is American, and she spent some time in the States already. Like, not too long to a point that she's like completely Americanized, but to a certain degree. So she could be like more acceptive. Is that a word?
Accepting
to like both cultures when it comes to dating, when it comes to relationship, when it comes to relationship with family and stuff. And at that time, they were talking about marriage. So they were talking about getting married, where to get married, how big the size of the wedding it should be. And then I remember that conversation between her and my dad, because my dad still in Taiwan, and he has the idea of weddings should be big. You should invite cousins you don't even know, because it's about showing family's face to other family members, saying that this marriage will work because of how big the wedding this is.
Whoa, so the bigger the wedding, the more successful.
Yeah, basically, right. But on the other side, it's like they just want to keep it so small. They want to keep it intimate and then cozy, and also it's very expensive to have a wedding.
Yes.
Yeah. So I remember that conversation, like, going back and forth, and then me being in the middle and then being already, like, completely third cultured. I'm like, I see both sides. I see the point of view, like, both are fair. There's no, like, right or wrong.
Yeah.
But when it comes to money, of course, I'll side with the smaller ones because financially that's more realistic.
Yeah.
However, I also respect the fact that there's a tradition you want to uphold. There's like a way of doing things that people always do it. So I think that's also like one thing I kind of pick up on.
Yeah, wedding cultures in different cultures is so interesting because it varies so much, but it's such a strong cultural thing to have weddings. It's very different.
Yeah, and I guess like going back to dating, since we're not in our 20s anymore, when we meet someone, we think about this stuff, right? I personally, I've never been the type of person like, when I grow up, I want to be in a wedding gown and
like fantasize
have a wedding
tiara.
at a church. Like, I've never fantasized that.
Yeah.
I've always been like a very career driven and be like, I am an independent woman.
Don't need no man.
I am a provider to myself, like, and if I meet someone, great. If not, it's not gonna kill me. But what about like in your shoes? Because now you have a partner.
Yeah.
And that partner is completely not things that check the box that you used to have.
Which I think makes me conclude that. So I think with my current partner, I realize, and I think this is the evolution of just dating or figuring out what you want as well, that it's not about race. It's about how they make you feel, first of all.
Yeah.
And also, like, he's able to enjoy all the things that I have as well. He's kind of like a weird intersection of American, but also has lived in Japan quite some time. So there are a lot of things that I don't even have to explain to him because he also has the same context. So
He knows the drill.
exactly, and he acts like fairly, there's some Asian mannerisms because of that as well. And so I think that checkbox, what I've learned is that you don't need to have a list that you're looking for. It's a good starting point for sure. But it's more, and then also as I'm reading about optimizing dating and stuff, or like, what is the meaning to life and happiness, and it's all about kindness. Like, what makes a relationship last is, like, are they kind? Do they make you feel like you can be yourself? And that also, like, can you resolve issues with
We really
discussion?
sound old when we talked about this, but it is true.
It is
It
true,
is
yeah.
true. It is true.
Yeah. And does he have a big dick?
There. How away. Yeah, I think that is so true. I personally feel like from culture to culture, of course, the way I seek a partner or like a potential partner changes through that. I went from more, I think I'm supposed to like this type of people to I realize it doesn't suit me, so I'm gonna move on to maybe this type of people, and then from type to maybe this kind of people to like, oh, as long as they have a good heart.
Yeah, but it's
I will
true.
work with that.
It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the biggest tell is being able to have an argument with your partner and having that resolved.
Can I talk about like that with, now it's pretty trendy in the States, especially. I know, but previously we were talking about mental health. You know how people now like to label different actions in dating world with different phrases. For example, love language, communication style, argument styles, all those things. Now to me it's fun because I don't have a partner now, so I love like analyzing other people's relationship. That's the funnest part of being single, because you're just kind of like watching different rom-coms basically.
It's
and
actually
just
so fun though to be like, oh, my love language is, you just like get it all out there. And then they know how to like interact with you.
Yeah, so I feel like, but me mentioning that, it's also like I want to go back to how I change among dating with people, communicating with those partners, is before coming from an Asian culture, we don't talk about it. We don't talk about sometimes communication didn't work out because the way you communicate is different, or we don't talk about that stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
So you just feel like it's not working. Okay, let's break up, right? And then you eventually learn, or somebody without those phrases,
or it's an arranged marriage and you're forced to stay in it.
But at some point, like in the States, I've come across people who were taught to communicate in different ways, or taught to think in a way that, oh, there is different ways to communicate with others, even though they don't have those actual term just yet. And that's how you slowly kind of change the way of picturing what dating's like. And then to like going into 2020s, that's when everyone started to put names in those actions. It's like, oh, sometimes you don't click because the way you argue is different. You have to like find a happy medium. Why they don't feel they don't show appreciations because maybe their love language is this, your love language is that. And I find it really helpful because I do witness a lot of my friends who are in a relationships back in Asia, they don't have that vocabulary. So they probably, if almost feels like they're shooting in the dark, and hope for the best, or that. And then, but in the States, not saying that they all have like happily ever after types of relationship, but you do see them kind of trying to be more vocal about what they're thinking, how they're expressing towards one another, and then that
like couples therapy is more common.
Somehow works. Yeah.
Do you think that, also I think as third culture kids, you rely on things like love language to communicate because you aren't as familiar with that culture, or you need a way to like identify, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, because it's so different. And
I think in my shoes, I think because my root culture, when it comes to dating or an intimate relationship, I'm more like Asian in terms of I'm really bad at talking about how I feel. That's the one thing my therapist keeps telling me is like, you're so self-aware, very good at describing the incident, terrible at expressing how you feel though. Like, how do you feel? I'm like, what does that mean?
How do you really feel?
I don't want to say it, but
just bottle it up, guys. Don't.
yeah, but I feel like because the rest of how I've been behaving will make people feel like I'm really good at expressing myself. That assumptions is like a lot of time it's what one of the biggest struggles when I'm like seeing someone, when I'm dating someone, it's like they thought I would say how I feel if the time is right, but I never says it. But learning,
So they have to guess.
They have to guess, right?
Or
And I'm like,
say no, but you don't really mean no, because no doesn't actually mean no.
when women says no, it means no.
Sometimes it doesn't.
It means no. Period. And yeah, so I find like
Sorry, on that though, in Japan, they do this thing though, where the girls will say no, but they actually mean yes. And I hate saying this.
That's so frustrating.
It's so frustrating, yeah, because like that's part of the thing. It's very like rapey in a way, where because you see all this like porn or like that's how you're supposed to act. Like the women are supposed to be like shy and like yamete toka. They're like oh no like
and
no,
they
no,
always
no,
constantly look like they're in
they're
pain.
Crying, yeah. And they're like they don't want to show that they're excited. They don't want to show that they want to kiss you or whatever. And so the guy does need to do a bit of a guessing game.
It's in there.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I interrupted your story on no.
What was I saying? Yeah, but anyway, I think learning those like love language words help me in a way.
Yeah.
Because I'm so bad at describing how I feel, but what I could do is describe the things that I prefer.
Yeah, yeah.
And that kind of, even though it's from the Western world, that whole concept, somehow it helped me as an Eastern person in the Eastern world for some reason.
Do you think your love languages change based on which culture that you're in, or is it pretty stable? Like, is that kind of like a...
I think my love language changed not because of culture, but because of more like self-work. So let's talk about like
put in the work.
The love language, right? We have physical touch.
Yeah.
We have act of service.
Yeah.
We have gifting. We have
quality time.
Quality time. There's another one.
Words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation. Yes. I think when I used to be like a people pleaser, I'm definitely gifting.
Yeah.
I still like to gift gifts. Like you know this. If I want to show my appreciation, I always like gift you something. And, you know,
I'm so bad at that.
Yeah. But I think Asian culture, sorry to generalize, but it's a huge act of service culture.
Yes.
We don't talk about I love you, but we show it through our behaviors.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the same guy who said that, don't talk about your day or whatever. I said suki, which is like, and he was like, because at that point I was kind of saying, hey, it's not really working out, but then he's like, but you said you loved me, and I was like, whoa, I did not mean love.
Oh yeah, the nuances is also interesting, right? I think that reminds me of when I was seeing this guy who supposedly is bilingual. We mostly communicate English, or like I will say something in English, he'll respond in Japanese. But I think like because both of us, we see each other's first language as not the first language, a lot of nuances we still have to work on or trying to understand better. So I think that's when there's conflict, there's a potential of like going out of control, because you might say things that you don't mean, or like in the moment it came off too strong and you didn't even realize. But the receiving end is like, whoa, did you just say that to me?
You love me? Oh my god.
Or like you hate me, or but they don't know how much weight it holds because they were not in that culture per se. I think that's another interesting phenomenon that a lot of us encounter.
I think as third culture kids as well, you kind of keep these things in mind where, for example, in Japan, if people are more acts of service and they're not really words of affirmation, at least for me, then I know how to like either tone it down or kind of do it in a way that they prefer. And
then I know like in my case is I back in New York, everyone's talking about communication. So I'm so used to, if there's a problem, just communicate. But it also doesn't fly here in a way that they don't communicate directly or in a way
Persevere.
Just persevere. Just bottle it up. Yeah.
Don't talk.
So that's also one thing I learn and grow from is just because I know or I think communication is the best way doesn't mean it's applicable to all. If the culture ingredients like so crucial in those moments.
And that's why it helps so much to, I guess, in a way, to date within your culture, because you already have a pretty similar way of, bonding with people.
Yeah, and then there's
just like sitting
avoid
side by
the
side
chance
and not
of
saying anything.
miscommunication in languages.
Yes.
However, though, there are many couples that work out really well. It just takes more effort. I think the end of the day, love is a choice. You wake up every day and you decide to keep loving.
Yeah.
That's your choice.
That's true. Yeah. Wait, but what about people who say love isn't a choice? They fall in love and they can't help it.
That's lust.
Is it?
Dating is difficult.
It's fun if you don't take it too seriously, I guess.
Don't take it too seriously, or don't be so hard.
No, take it seriously. You should take it seriously.
But
I
don't
know what
be
I'm
so
saying.
hard to yourself and to others, I guess.
Yeah.
We're all work in progress.
Yes.
How about that? I think another thing about having the experience in dating in different culture is it kind of built on that compassion and empathy.
Yeah.
You give, again, more grace in the situations when you're dating someone.
Yeah.
Do you feel the same way?
When I'm dating cross-culturally, giving them more grace?
Yeah. Like,
No, if they wrong me, that's it. Done. No grace.
in a way that,
They make me feel like shit and I'm out.
of course, like, prioritize respecting yourself, of course, always. But what I'm saying is, in a situation, I feel like it's similar to when you're dating, when in a young age, you have this very unrealistic standard.
Yeah.
And then
like
you start to
your
mellow
partner needs
down.
to be your best friend, your lover, your intellectual sparring partner.
Yeah, like everything, they need to be perfect, they need to be flawless.
That's why love marriages don't work.
So similar to that, I think with us being exposed in different culture while having an experience of having those intimate relationships with one another, we also build this side of us that we don't have that kind of unrealistic expectation, because we know culturally it's also not black and white.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
I want to talk about who pays in different cultures. I think that's a big topic, and everyone's always like, and talking about like heterosexual relationships.
Yeah.
Where they are like, oh, the men should always pay because women are always, paying for their whatever to look a certain way for the date for the man, so he needs to provide, kind of thing. And like historically, he should provide because the woman needs to go through, I don't know, childbirth and all that kind of stuff. But
Can I just say the whole thing about, even when you're describing it, there's a lot of should and need, right? I think those should and needs is what ruin people.
Yes, yeah. I like how they have that outlook in Europe, where it's pretty, in some countries, it's very like 50-50. I think there's a term even like go Dutch means.
It's go Dutch is like 50-50.
Or like equal.
Yeah.
And that's like very equal amongst all the sexes, regardless of whatever.
Yeah. And I also feel like it's a personal choice. So if this person I'm seeing happen to be the one who's like, maybe that's his love language. Like that was my ex love language. He likes to provide. And then I just let him do it. It's not because I think it's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's not because I can't afford my own meal. It's because I recognize that's what makes him happy.
Right.
Is to have that gesture. Then yeah, why not? But I feel like it's a personal choice.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the culture. It has nothing to do with men should do something, women should do something. Like, partnership is a partnership.
Yeah, yeah. Although I do find there are some cultures that are very strong about one or the other as well.
I know, because I do have friends who get pissed when they go on a date. They're like, you know, this guy has the audacity to not pay for the meal? And then I'm like, how much is the meal? Like $10. I'm like, you can't afford $10 meal. But I also get their point. Is like, probably that's something they care about.
I guess for them, maybe it's like showing commitment to something from the other party as well. Like, oh, if they're not able to pay for the first date, then what is that going to mean for...
But what kind of commitment are you looking for on a first date?
Just give me coffee. I don't know. I don't know. I'm weird about that kind of stuff, though, because I never want someone to pay for me.
Yeah.
So I always end up either paying...
I also
like
feel
50-50.
weird, right? But I think the ex I was talking about, that was a practice for me as well.
Yeah.
Because I'm very used to go Dutch or like just pay for my own portion or like I love covering for my friends. Again, one of my love languages is gifting. That's just like part of who I am. It's not because I want to show that I'm so wealthy or so well established. So it took me some time to be like, oh, I feel weird to let him pay, but you know,
Just let him.
Yeah, and then, but I feel like in Western culture, it's a thing, right? Being a gentleman. You're expecting your partner to be a gentleman.
So gentle.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
like
there's
in the
also a lot
States.
of, like, I don't know, negative connotations with that as well. Like, I think I go the extreme other way, whereas if someone is trying to be a gentleman, I'm like, I'm a woman, I can take care of myself. And I'm like, how dare you be a gentleman?
To me, it's the opposite, because I've been, majority of my adulthood, I've been, like, on my own. Switching your own light bulbs, like, fixing your own toilet, so...
You can switch light bulbs?
Dude.
How many Jessicas does it take to change a light bulb?
Just one. 0.8 Jessica.
Actually, my washroom light bulb needs to be changed.
Okay, I'll come over later. But, so when someone offer they can help, I'm like...
Please.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I just don't like the expectation that I might owe them something, or I take it, I know I shouldn't, but I kind of take it as an insult that I can't take care of myself. So I clearly have like a lot of insecurities in needing to prove that I can take care of myself.
Yeah,
so,
I think, to me it's like, it comes later, like once I get to know this person, then I know the intention behind why they're offering their help.
Yeah.
If I realize the reason is probably because they see me as the weak, then I'll be like, get out of my fucking way, I can fix my own light bulb. But if their intention is just like pure and that's just who they are, that's a point added right there.
Yeah. Depending on the culture, I find, like, for example, with that previous example in Japan, it's so different getting to know people. Like in Germany, dating was really weird because people are super flaky, so you kind of have to get used to that sort of style where
so
maybe
like,
you'll set
it's
a
not
date
personal.
and it's not personal, and then here the dating is very slow, and then they have this like third date thing where on the third date you confess, and then if they confess, then you move forward and you become boyfriend and girlfriend, and if they don't confess, it just like moves at like a snail's pace. So yeah, it's just very, very different based on...
I've done that.
Yeah.
A snail's pace.
Yeah. But I do find it's very different if you're dating culturally local people.
I do realize that. I think, I was very used to, like I said, the communication, right? Yeah. So in the States, I feel like in general, people are more expressive, or like it depends on the community that you're dating in. Some is more physical than other, like when it comes to expressing themselves or affection, right? So I was very used to people signaling me how much they like me through physical touch. Yeah. Because that's such a normal thing,
and PDA is not a normal thing here.
Yeah, it's like, the way where they place their hand on your back matters, how they touch you matters, like that's the little details you can pick up on and to be like, let's move forward to the next stage.
Yeah.
But over here,
No
none.
touching. No touching. Not allowed.
So it was so confusing to me because I'm like,
Yeah.
bruh, you interested in me or not? Like, I need to know, but they are also not verbally expressive.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's-
So it's like you can't. That's why you have the 3-day confessing rule, and it's like very jarring because it's suddenly like, oh, I love you. It's like, whoa, this is only the 3rd date.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it does take some time for me to like adjust myself
Yeah.
when I came here and then met someone and being like,
Oh, this is how you do things
Yeah, I'm
here.
like, no touching yet? Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You weirdo going around touching people.
I love touching people.
Yeah, me too. So it's
Yeah.
like really hard to
How
hear.
how does your style change?
Yeah, I guess less touching for sure. And if people touch me, then I freak the fuck out.
Right now?
No.
Now?
Actually, now my partner and I have this thing where we'll like hold hands, and then he'll like try and kiss me goodbye, and I'll be like, no, no touching. You can't do that here. And I would just like run away.
Wow.
Yeah.
I really think I wish I see more like outwards external affections towards one another in public.
Yes. I
'Cause
think we need that.
Yeah, I miss the
Show more
feeling
love.
of love in the air.
Yes.
You know, that's like one thing, again, for some reason, so far, every Valentine's Day, I stay single, right? I never.
The Valentine's Day culture here is very weird too.
Yeah, so Valentine's Day in the States, it's like you really feel love is in the air.
Yeah.
And it's good. Even
Yeah.
though I was single, I feel the atmosphere.
But also, fuck Valentine's Day. It's a stupid capitalist friggin' holiday that
But also
people
just
just are buying stuff.
Yeah.
And
Have
same
a
with
good time.
Christmas. Same with Easter. Fuck all the holidays. Sorry.
Fuck them all, but enjoy them all. Yeah, but the first Valentine's Days I experienced in Japan, completely different. You see lines outside all the chocolate shops,
Yeah.
but you don't feel it
Yeah.
as strongly in
Yeah.
public.
Well, it's like a ritual, right? Because so there's Valentine's Day and then there's White Day. Valentine's Day obviously is the February 14th, and then White Day is March 14th. And so on Valentine's Day, the girl
Girls.
is supposed to give, or whoever that you like, you're supposed to give chocolate to the person that you like. And then you wait a month on White Day, and then the receiving partner will give back white chocolate back to the person if they like them. So you're like waiting this entire month to be like, do they like me or not? It's interesting.
You know, that's why their mental health is so bad.
But I guess that's why it's very clear in black and white. Like, once you
Is
get
it
the chocolate,
clear?
but once you get the chocolate, then it's a done deal. Now you love each other and you're gonna get married.
And have babies.
Yeah. Or not, because in Japan they're having a lot of troubles because they don't care for their mental health and people aren't having babies. And so the government actually is making a dating app for the people.
Uh-huh.
Dating for the people.
Uh-huh.
Might as well just be communist. On that note, tell us your funny dating stories. What's it like dating in other cultures? Do you have any interesting quirks to share?
Yeah.
Let us know.
I think my learning from dating is really, it's absolutely, I still think communication matters across all
Yes.
cultures.
Yeah, and that's why
Find a
TCP
way
has so much
to,
trouble.
find a way to communicate. I think that's one thing.
Communication makes the world go round.
Yeah.
Except for the flat earthers. Then
Yeah.
it goes flat.
And then I think preference, right? You prefer to date another third culture people because it's easier to get better understanding.
Yeah.
My preference is that as long as they are culturally curious and are willing to find that happy medium, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
So there's no like right or wrong answers or the handbook to how you date as a third culture person, or how do you date a third culture person.
Ooh.
Ooh. Are we hard to date? We're
I
not
think
hard.
so. I think the expectations are high.
We're not that hard to date. We're fun to date.
You heard it here first. We're fun people. Trust us, because we said so.
But yeah, really curious about like what all of you, if you have experience, if your partner is a multicultural person, if you're a multicultural person, and dating someone domestic, or any setting, drop us a comment. If you're listening to Spotify, drop a comment. If you're watching from YouTube, drop a comment. If you find us on Instagram,
also
drop a comment. So that's dating. Now,
is it time?
It is time.
We gotta do it really quickly. Okay. Ready? Go.
Wait.
Go.
Okay, it's your turn.
Okay. Oh, is laughter the best medicine, or is apples? Are apples or apples? Think about that.
And that goes our other episode.